every year in the draft, I find some guys that I just naturally gravitate to, that I absolutely just fall in love with their film for whatever reason that might be. And one of those players this year for me is the sack attack, McKinley. Takkarist McKinley is one of those guys that when I saw him on film, it popped for me. And I think a large part of that is due to the fact that this dude plays with an effort level, a motor, a hustle that is just very, very rare that I see out of prospects. The number one thing that stands out to me when watching Takkarist McKinley, above all else, Tack the Sack, whatever nickname, and that's one of my goals throughout this whole process, is try to come up with some nicknames for some of these guys, knowing none of them will probably stick, but God knows it'll be better than what the media will probably create for some of these guys. But this guy plays so hard, so consistently, and so many times he makes plays because of his will, more so than his skill. Even though he is a skilled player, it's that will, that effort, that hustle, that desire to play from snap to whistle, through the whistle sometimes, that I just look at a dude like this and I say, my God, this is the type of guy that I want on my team. This is the type of guy that I want on my practice field, in my locker room, in the meeting rooms. Because if he plays that hard on the field, imagine how hard he might work off the field. Now, looking at him, though, I don't just want to sell him short and say that the only reason I like this kid is because of his great hustle, in which, again, he's got in great abundance. He's got other things, too. He's got pretty good size for the position. You'd like him to be maybe a little bit taller, but he's got decent length for his size. He's got really good weight, borderline defensive end type of size here, with a really good first step. Pretty consistent in terms of his snap recognition skills, very good change of pace and direction skills. I do think while he's not the most explosive in his first step, you also look at quickness being the second and third step. I think that's where it starts to show, and it kind of goes back to his sprinting background of a kid that ran 10.58 back in high school, mind you, at 230 pounds, but still is a pretty big dude, and he's got some wheels. Probably not much faster than he was in high school, because when you start to play football, you get out of some of those habits that made you a faster runner. But you look at this dude, and you can see some of that high school speed. You can see some of that track speed still on the football field. A guy that's a decent pass rusher, I think, based off of his lower center of gravity, his size, and his strength that he plays with, and the ferocity with which he plays with, he could be an effective bull rusher. He's got an adequate but not exceptional ability to bend the edge. But it's that relentless effort again, and that's what I keep coming down to. As a run defender, he does a good job of staying disciplined, but as much as anything else, it's that lateral and downfield pursuit. It's that desire to go get the ball carrier. Same thing as a pass rusher. He's probably going to end up getting a couple of sacks a year in the NFL just strictly off of effort alone. He might even get whooped by the offensive lineman initially, but he's going to keep playing, and he's going to keep coming, and he's going to keep coming. And eventually, it's going to pay off. He's a guy that I've seen some ability to cover, especially in zone. We'll see how much you want to really call on him to play in coverage in the NFL. But a relatively short tackler, too. So he's a guy, when he gets home, he makes things happen, and I really like that. He demonstrated some decent football IQ. And what's crazy about it is this is a dude that played, apparently, the past 2 years with a torn labrum in his shoulder. And just in general, again, talking about will and desire, it was a little concerning. He had multiple groin injuries in 2016, but he only ended up missing one game as a result. And if you've ever been an athlete in any type of sport, sometimes if your knee's bothering you, your ankle, your foot, your back, you can play through, you can run through some of those type of things. But a groin injury can be really, really tough. And the fact that he only missed one game with a groin injury, again, speaks to his will, speaks to his desire, and it's just impressive for me to see. I really like this kid. I don't know if he's a franchise-changing defensive player. I won't go that far. I don't put him in the Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald type of category. But I think this is a kid that could be a starter and a really good one at the NFL level. An NFL comparison I have for him is probably Pernell McPhee, bigger type of edge rusher. And Pernell McPhee has moments when he's healthy where he can be a real force off of the edge and a real good just all-around player. And I see a similar type of future for the sack attack, Tack McKinley. My final grade for him is a 90.0. I think he carries a late first round grade. And in terms of projecting 3-4 edge rushers for the NFL level, I feel like he's one of the best in this year's draft. This is not, to me, the best draft class for 3-4 edge rushers. But if I'm looking to take a guy maybe in the late portion of round 1, I'm a good team and I want a young kid that can come in and eventually take over but produce in a spot, in a role right away, I'm looking at Tack McKinley and I see a guy that I can envision doing some nice things for me on the football field.